This is episode 4 of Industrial+Beers. We're in Tripping on the Cable Studios today, and we have in the studio David, Slava, and Rissy of Tekhnotron. We're going to have some discussion, some beer, or insert your preferred beverage, whatever it is. And yeah, let's get to it. So, I already asked Slava this question, so I'm going to ask you and Rissy specifically. What were you guys' first entry point into industrial music? And like, when did you first start listening to industrial? And if you want to mention the first album you got into as well, you can. Yeah, that's what
Go for it.
Okay. Well, where to start? So I guess the first entry point, I guess, for listening to electronic music was probably the first time I went to the local goth night that used to be here called Chimera, run by DJ Jinx, and that was probably like 12 years ago, maybe a little bit more. It's been a long time. But one of the first times I went there, I later found out that the band that was playing was called Grendel.
Oh, okay.
So Grendel was the Hypertech band was pretty much my first electronic band that I listened to. But I would say but before that, the first more alternative or not mainstream pop, everyday pop rock music I listened to was back in the day when there was LimeWire and dial-up internet. Back in the day. I accidentally downloaded a song by the band Him.
Oh, okay.
And it was called Bury Me Deep Inside.
Yeah, that's goth rock stuff. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a total accident, but as with LimeWire, you didn't know what the song was until it was finished. So after the hour or two of waiting for it to download, I was like, oh, what is this? And was like the first alternative, not mainstream music that I started listening to. But electronic was definitely great.
Nice. David?
I was a metal kid, so I grew up in Germany, and yeah, that was just when a lot of the festivals started, or have been around for a while already.
Okay.
So, funny enough, my first favorite band was Static X, which I learned later that they're actually considered industrial here.
Yeah.
After that, I got more into goth rock and gothic metal, but I always liked the crossover between metal and guitar music and electronic music. So I was happy to indie age is one of the genres like Rammstein and things like that, and that were popular in Germany at the time. But I was happy to learn that there's actually a genre as industrial, or more so than electro-industrial on the subgenres, more popular in North America that had exactly what I was looking for, which is great.
Excellent. All right. How did Tekhnotron come about? And I know it was just you in the beginning, Slava, and I'm kind of curious how you started adding more live members and, just kind of take it from its beginnings to up until now. So.
Yeah, of course, when I was 17, I decided to play more experimental music and push the boundaries a little bit more and step into electronica. And before, I used to play bass growing up in various punk bands. It was mostly primarily bass and guitar, but at some point, inspired by what I heard and saw Pretty Hate Machine, I decided to venture in similar grounds. Not necessarily the similar sound at the time, but slowly started poking around with early versions of various DAWs and just a basic MIDI controller. And decided to slowly settle and work the way into electro-industrial music. Eventually, I had a challenge finding band members and a bit of a challenge finalizing the writing approach. After the first few stars and failed attempt, ended up settling with a live member, Josh, that worked for a little bit. Rissy offered to join in 2010, and at the time I was looking for somebody to run the rig, so I got focused on running the front. Fast forward, we went through a few minor lineup changes where we added drums, but we settled down on a 3-piece that has been working very well since.
Okay, excellent. That leads me to my next question. Why EDM and industrial?
Well, interesting question. One of the things I loved growing up was various sci-fi, particularly Eastern Bloc sci-fi.
Yeah.
Things like Stanislav Lem
Yeah.
and some of the Soviet sci-fi, hard sci-fi writers like Milan and such. And when I was venturing into the overall industrial scene, that was the sound that appealed to me the most. And therefore, around the same time, so I was inspired by Pretty Hate Machine to write stuff on my own. Decided to settle on the sound because it really, in my opinion, signifies that feel and atmosphere of sci-fi.
Okay.
It's a consistent enough genre while it leaves a lot of space and ground for experimentation.
Okay.
So that's why.
All right. This is going by quite quickly. Oh well. So that leads me to my next question. Your lyrics are typically sci-fi. Do you consider your guys' release conceptual, or is it fiction, or more based in reality?
So the last one, the Urban Network Underground, was something conceptual.
Yeah.
So it came from the angle of this like ragtag group of rebels that are fighting for their humanity.
Yeah.
So that part is fictional, but I think in the overall concept for going through the album, you could like look at how they started question how technology is influencing us, and you know, if it really is something that you should fight or something that we just have to learn to work with, which is pretty much what we as a society are figuring out right now too, right?
Yeah.
So it was telling those stories, and in the end there's not really an answer to that, but more the question of like, if do we have to like fight for something that we lost or something that we have to develop into, because technology is part of our lives and it's not going to go away anytime soon.
That's reality now, right?
So and I thought it was a lot of fun doing it that way. It was a little difficult for us to fit some of the old material in and making like everything consistent.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think we learned for this time, for the new material that we're working on right now, to focus on production and the music elements of it first, and then developing the concept on top of it.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Because we had a little bit of a struggle of like fitting some of the material into the concept.
Yeah.
We really liked it.
Just because the lyric content.
I don't know if it was the lyrics. It was more making sure that it's all like consistent with the theme.
A
Right?
consistent sound
Like-
throughout each individual song to make
I
it
see. Okay.
fit within the general consensus as to what we wanted to do that fit with that concept video. But these two are big, massive sci-fi nerds, so
Yeah.
we always find
I'm a sci-fi nerd too.
Yes.
Cyberpunk. I love cyberpunk.
Yeah, so they always find a way to make sure they get that nitty-gritty.
So that does lead me to my next question. Do you think the world is in a dystopic state with the current goings-on in the world? Or especially with what's been going on with US and Russia and stuff like that, and Brexit and all that? Like, I'm curious what you guys think of the whole world situation.
Oh, I saw a really interesting tweet from one of the sci-fi writers that I follow. He said a lot of his fellow authors that write like near future fiction, basically over the last couple of years, like threw up their hands and said, we can't make this stuff up anymore, and went back to writing about dragons and fairies. So it's really interesting that even people whose job it is to predict or write stories that are set in the future, like we couldn't have made that up.
Yeah, unfortunately.
We'll have to see if that all of it is necessarily a bad thing. I think like Slava had some thoughts on that as well.
Well, in my opinion, yes and no, because there are some of the really bad headlines happening, really the best events, really bad stuff happening right now. But at the same time, I do believe in the end that the human reason, the rationality, people will take over and will prevail. And I do have a rather positive outlook of believing there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I try my best to contribute to the cause.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I don't necessarily read or follow the more dystopic sci-fi concepts or novels that these two do. But for me, like, I grew up, being the native Calgarian that I am. Like, I grew up, like, watching Star Trek and watching Star Wars, and all of this sort of stuff, so more of the utopic mentality on
Yeah.
how the more the positive side of how technology can work with
Yeah.
us. And so I found that in our last album that it was, yes, there was definitely some dystopic, make you stop and think ideas,
Yeah.
but there was also, this isn't, just because it's making you stop and think, it isn't always necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like you guys said, it's definitely finding that balance between.
I think this is what the genre EBM industrial gets itself to as
Yeah.
well.
Like
It's like yes, it's not,
dystopian science
Yeah.
fiction type stuff.
but also then saying like it's not all just bad and terrible. This
Yeah.
is happening. These are the bad sides. Let's figure out how we can make
change
it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I'm particularly interested in what Germans feel about these issues as well. I mean, they dealt with the shit in World War II, and there's definitely an emboldening of supremacists and white nationalists right now, and neo-Nazis. How do you guys feel about that? I'm particularly curious in what you have to say. And I know you guys go back there every once in a while, so I'm just curious. Like, obviously there's a difference here and there, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
and I'm curious what your perspective is because you're from Germany. And I don't know.
I've been on that Rissy story because she had a pretty good perspective as a visitor going
Okay.
there.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
On this.
yeah, as visiting and when I lived in Munich, a while ago, but like I'll use an example to kind of explain it a little bit. That we were just walking in downtown Munich, and it was during the political election time, so each of the party members had were doing their speeches and having their posters, like as we do here, but because of the Nazis and that whole area, they're still technically, they always find the loopholes to stay within the actual legal political system.
Oh, okay.
And so as a non-German person who I would say for us, so at least during that time for me, I was not really used to being around people in public like that or anything.
Yeah.
And we were and so everybody was there and they're doing their their speeches and this is why you want to vote for us and all this sort of stuff. And we turned a corner and I literally ran into 20 plus full SWAT team.
Oh, really?
Fully armed.
Oh, crazy.
I don't even know the type of guns they were. It was insane.
Really?
And we literally ran, walked into them. There's this massive wall and I'm like,
Oh, shit.
what the hell is going on? And then David went there and he's like, yeah, it's because the Nazi party, because they could still technically run the system, they wanted to speak. And so, but the good thing, so it was really weird. As a non-native, it was really shocking a little bit. But I mean, the good thing about that story was that there was maybe 20 neo-Nazis and 200, 300 plus people all protesting against it, and as David had explained to me when that happened, that the SWAT team was just there for just in case, and because it is a bigger, it's an issue, and the country takes it very seriously. It's one of the last countries that anything like that's going to happen again, because they are very not the word, they're very, very, when you're a younger kid, as you told me, in school, this is all you learn about, so you really, even things like you go into a movie store back in the day, and a movie like Inglourious Bastards, on the front of the movie, it has a swastika, but in Germany, you can't put that on the front, and little things like that, and it's not, they have lots of movies, and they have, whether they're documentaries or political comedies or whatever have you, but it's just certain symbolisms, they're very conscious about what's being placed where in the public eye. But it's definitely. But that being said, the country is beautiful, and the people there are very conscious about that type of stuff, and it's definitely one of the last places in the world that something like that would happen again.
It's just risky to not become complacent with that, right? Because the people like my grandparents that can still tell stories from that time are slowly all passing away, so we won't soon have people anymore that actually grew up during that time and have lived through it and been a part of it. And I think it's similar in other parts in the West. In the West, they say, well, we fought the Nazis, this can never this can never happen, right? In Germany, it's a similar thing, we went through it, and in a lot of Eastern European countries that were suffering during the war, but there's still a big shift to like more extremist positions, right?
So, yeah, how do you guys think that plays into industrial music though? Like how do you like I don't know how to ask this question. Like, you know, there's bands like Noctmare or even Boyd Rice or whatever, right? Boyd Rice may not necessarily be industrial, but you know, there's that line that is kind of like, okay, well, this is going a little bit too far, and
I think the times where you can like do the imagery and all this stuff ironically are luckily finally over. I always thought it was very silly to do that to begin with.
Yeah.
But now I think the fans, more so actually in North America, and promoters are just not having it
they just don't put up
anymore.
with it anymore.
And people at Wave Treffen have been very like vocal about not endorsing any of those bands or not inviting them. And
we're not showing
I think
up to concerts, not buying merch, not not supporting.
So it's our job as fans, right? And as the promoters to just be like, no, this is not okay. This is not okay.
Bullshit. We're not. Yeah, exactly.
And I never liked that idea of we're just doing it ironically, or it was a joke, or it was to shock, right?
Yeah. Well, that's typically Noctmare's.
Yeah.
Stance,
So,
right? So
I never got that.
Sorry, you want to say something?
Yeah, I have thought about it extensively and actually know quite a lot of number of bands that were walking on that sort of thin ice. And to me, the simple idea is whether that serves to tell a story, to be a part of the narrative or a concept, or just to be used as an offensive imagery for shock value. So that's the simple test for me. So for instance, I do love some of the earlier Joy Division albums that have some interesting imagery attached to them, but the way I treat it, the way I see it is if it's trying to invoke a certain atmosphere or tell a certain story, just serves as to educate people. I do like that part of it. But if something like that is serving the purpose just to be edgy, and without any intellectual pursuit, for lack of a better word, or to showcase some controversial image just for the heck of it, then I prefer not to buy it. And it's generally stay away from things like that.
Yeah. It's also important to not misinterpret certain imagery, right? Because Rammstein actually had a lot of problems with just because they had angry sounding German lyrics. To be pushed into that camp. So I think it's also important to educate people, because sometimes things are so subtle that you're like you have to know about it, but sometimes it's also not what it seems like at all.
Okay. I'm going to bring this up because you are female.
Absolutely.
Misogyny in the scene, how do you feel about that?
Oh, that's always a loaded question. But no, it's dumb, it's wrong, it shouldn't be there. You know, it's I mean, that is an age-old question from any time era of any type, not just music, you know, it's always been there, and it always, unfortunately, maybe one day it won't be, but right now it is there, and it's an issue, you know, and it's not, it is something that it's like, it shouldn't be in this scene. And I think that, you know, females, whatever type of music you play or art you do or job that, whether it's not even music related or at all, you know, there are many women that are just as capable of doing a good job, or if not better than men can, and there shouldn't be that distinction, you know. And that's why, like, for example, a good thing from that was like at Terminus this weekend, that there were many bands, I could say probably maybe half about the bands that played were all female fronted, and that was really good to see, because it means that issues that have been having with some of the major industrial projects that were treading that line that started this, it's good to see that newer bands and bands have been around for a while that are still there, and they're still recognizing that females are just as...
So, I guess this isn't really a question because this is pretty obvious. I'm sure you agree with this. Is that there still is a lack of representation with women in the scene.
I think so, yeah.
But I do agree with you. It is getting better, I think.
Yeah, it is,
So-
and I think like with these newer upcoming bands that are showing up. I mean, of course, there's other people in them, whether they're male or female, it doesn't matter. But to have some of the main people, and I mean, we're going to band it as a collaboration of everyone.
Yeah.
Just even having the person who's the front singer. Whether they just go there and just sing the part or it's their creation, just having that person as a female really does make an impact on the viewing audience to show that it's not just a male, and it shouldn't be just a male-dominated.
It's not just a boys' club.
It's not just a boys' club. Us ladies can do just as well as you can, if not better. But no. But that being said, there are still many bands that are male-fronted that I love just as much too. So I think it's like
I'm just going to quickly close this here because I don't want any rain to get in here.
Oh, it's raining. How industrial. It's soft rain.
Just so you know, I am not cutting anything out. This is going to be, you'll even hear that, so.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm all about the candidates.
Yeah. So, are we?
But yeah, no, I mean,
I like that it wasn't something that was done, I don't think on purpose, it was just this is where things are moving towards. This is like a modern lineup and this is how things should look like, so that was really nice to see.
Yeah, I agree. My favorite band last night was Tekhnotron.
Yeah, I think David fell in love with it.
I was like, why has this not been in my life?
Andrew
She
Lutz
did
was
so
the only
awesome.
band I wanted to see in this entire festival, and I did blog about them, and I already posted it online, but I didn't go in with any expectations, but I walked away going, that was perfect.
That's exactly what he said. Rissy, I need to buy the CD.
Yeah.
Give me some money. I'm like, well, here you go, babe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I always like talking about gear too, so we're gonna have a little gear discussion. So what was your guys' first live setup like? Like we can basically take it from the beginnings of I know you discussed this a little bit earlier, but from the beginning of Tekhnotron to what it is now, like what is your live setup like? What gear are you using? How's it evolved since adding your extra members to the show and stuff like that? So
the first live setup was typical at a time of late 2000s underground industrial-ish post-industrial music, which was just a laptop with a DAW running with a MIDI controller, doing various things and various live parts. My vocal line was running through the Chaos Pad with some limited success, but I decided to not do that anymore because of how Chaos Pad works. Particularly, it evolved into various editions. At some point, there was, like I said, live pianist playing his electric piano on stage. And after, again, some changes, we worked with electronic drums. We decided to settle on similar core setup right now with laptop DAW with two keyboards, keyboard players running the backing tracks and me triggering. It varies what we're doing. Sometimes it's samples, sometimes it's additional layer of keyboards, sometimes it's a little bit of live one-off atmospheric drums and sample hits. And we're always working on it. To sum up, the way we're going to look at into it in the future, there's nothing planned specifically yet, but I do have a couple of wild and very interesting ideas. So, our live setup constantly changes, we try new things, and we do what we like. Live shows.
Well, I have to ask, like, what specific pieces? Like, are you using the Waldorf? Are you using, just some names? I just want to hear some names.
Yeah, of course.
Some names I want to know. Why do you like these pieces? Because
go ahead, Slava. You start.
Yeah, of course. Well, currently we're using the main core rig. There was a core rig with Dave controlling it and also playing certain parts either from the stack of the software synths and plugins directly in Reason, which is our current DAW of choice, one of our DAW of choice, or playing them on his Waldorf Blofeld, particularly for atmospheric pads and atmospheric sounds, which go directly into the submix. Rissy is triggering the stack of various releasing synths and
Yeah.
plugins via the guitar as
Okay.
a more engaging audience. Yes. via
Oh,
this.
okay,
Releases
okay.
Vortex keyboard.
Oh, interesting.
And then we have, depending on the gig we're using and the rig we're using for the show, we have either 2 or 3 mic lines with mine and Rissy's alternating backing and lead vocals, going through that tech stack, and Dave providing backing vocals on certain shows.
Yeah, I think like last show we almost did all the Waldorf. Like every song had a Waldorf hardware patch. So we've slowly been like migrating those parts and creating patches that are hardware based. And I do want to use that for the next one. I do like that machine just because it's pretty powerful. It's pretty complex. It is pretty complex. It's pretty powerful though, and but for pads, which is what I like doing, it's perfect.
Some of the excellent wave tables for that.
The keytars are just fun.
The guitar is fucking.
They're just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're kind of cheesy.
They're totally cheesy.
But at the same time,
awesome.
it's like, fuck, she's got a fucking guitar on
That's
stage.
exactly how you feel. You're like, this is so cheesy, but I'm having so much fun right now, so it doesn't matter.
So, I'm curious, who does most of the writing these days, and what is the writing process like?
It varied from album to album. Usually, for the bulk of our older work, I have done the core sound design and production with Dave and Rissy providing input mostly around live shows, live rigs, as well as some of the lyrics work and some of the melodies. Currently, we're trying different approaches, trying to see what works best as we live in different cities. And it is still always a work in progress and always an evolving process. Right now, we have a whole bunch of things that Dave and Rissy have wrote. We are still gathering material, and we're always trying to find a better process and always trying to improvise.
Yeah, it's definitely been a little slower since we moved. It's tricky to actually figure out.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's there is life, and sometimes it's just difficult. Like it would have been really nice to just get together and go and jam a little bit. So we're trying to find the best times because we have a lot of raw material now to actually arrange it all and put it all together. And then figuring out, like making sure that it all fits together musically, and then we can figure out if you want to do some specific theme to the lyrics, or if it should just be something
More
a little more
individual.
free form and individual.
But I mean, like I know for David and I, we have our own little studio set up at home, and like there'll be many nights where he'll just go in there and he just starts noodling around with these with the melody synth lines, and then he'll plug me in, and there's been a bunch of times we just do like almost like a live jam, and there's been a few times where like, wow, that's a 4-minute song. Okay, cool.
We have a song now.
That worked out well, you know. And sometimes it's more like noodling around and go, oh, that's an amazing bass line, you know. So we'll save snippets. So it just it really does depend on what. Yeah, it's been just more trying to, like you said, be more free flow and not super planned per se in this stage, and then taking those bits and pieces and seeing what you can move together and change into something.
Well, there's this one song we took in literally one take, and every time I go over it, I'm like, I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, and then I listen, and everything I've done didn't work. It's like, nope, this song is
the way it is.
how it's supposed to be.
So, I know this isn't one of the questions I put on the sheet here, or in the questionnaire thing, but what are you guys working on? Do you have an EP in the canon?
Currently, what we're doing is we are working on a possible single that we would like to come at least within 2018, before the end of 2018. And after that, we want to focus our effort on an EP. There's nothing concrete about that, but currently the stage is pretty early. It's very much introductory stage, and we are just working on gathering some raw material to see what we can do.
Like 5-6 songs, whatever.
Nothing like concrete.
We did do an awesome photo shoot.
This is true. Yes, it was super fun. Good friend of ours, Eric, he did some photos for us before, so that turned out super well, which is good for some new rebranding and new refreshing.
Yeah, for sure. We're doing a photo shoot on the 6th, I think, so.
There's so much more.
It'll be me and Brooke. I mean, Brooke isn't really an official member of the band, but like he's an official live member, but I kind of wanted to do something different, and long story short, we had group photos way back in December, and the guy just disappeared, and we don't know where he is, and I paid him, and
Really
I don't want to say it on here because
no, of course not.
there's like he contacted me, and there's certain things going on, so
Yeah,
I don't want to divulge that, but
Yeah, of course.
fortunately enough, Katja, she's done most of my photos, and
She is a wonderful woman.
yeah,
for
she
editing.
is, and she's like, well, I can do these for free, and I'm like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, okay.
Offer twice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I already asked the gear stuff, so I'm not going to ask that question. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to ask that question. So I've asked Slava this question about in a previous Industrial+Beers, and I'm curious what you guys think of the philosophy. It's not the gear you have, but how you use it.
Well, as we were talking earlier about it, I mean, for me, with this project, like I do the keyboards and vocals, so
Yeah.
if I take the vocals, for example, that's still an instrument. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's, I would say in that aspect, I definitely agree that it's not necessarily the gear, it is how you use it, because as a vocalist, you know, how I do my vocals for this project is completely different how I do my vocals for my other project. And yeah, as your voice is that instrument, it is, there are many different ways like you can learn, and like the whole thing that people, I can't sing is bullshit. You can sing, you just need to, maybe you just need one or two rules and ways on how to get that going, you know? Whereas, but at the same time, when it comes to like instruments like specific keyboards or specific, you know, synths, that it's, I mean, there definitely are synths that are specifically designed for specific sounds, you know, so it can be the gear, like, but again, at the same time, if you know your gear and you really, really like it, then you're going to find a way to make it work for you as well. So it's, it's definitely, you know, probably how you use it in that aspect, What do you think, David?
I think especially with electronic music, it's because you have basically an infinite choice of possibilities. It's actually important to limit yourself
I agree.
to certain things, and that sometimes, because there's so many interesting things, it's sometimes hard. And I think then, yes, it depends on how you use it. I also like always drilling down to the basics. So I write software for a living, so I actually, when I wanted to learn more about sound
synthesizing.
I sat down and wrote some like oscillators, all those things myself. And Slava and I were looking up this genre of I forgot what it was called.
Algorithm.
Which is
that's
basically
where they
algorithmically creating songs.
They're making songs with code.
And it's really hard to say what the gear is anymore, right? Because you can basically use almost anything, and as software is eating our world more and more, right? Like basically almost every music project by now has some influence of electronic software, synth, something like that. So I would say it's just interesting to get to know your gear all the way through, right? Like really, and sometimes I find it hard to just sit down and get to learn something all the way through.
And depending on your gear, there can be a lot to learn too. It's not an easy process.
Certain synthesizers, there's a lot of menu diving. So it's like, you're like, okay, well, where's this? And you have to go in these like 30 menus and find the one feature that you want.
Dave has a big issue. Like one of the issue has an issue with that in the Waldorf, just because it's so complex and the screen is like big.
My synth is kind of like that. Like it's very basic, but at the same time, there's a lot of menu diving, and it's like, oh, okay, I want to change this and this and the other, and you know, whatever, right? And it's. I still love it though. That's the only synth I've ever wanted, and I use it for everything. So
I hooked mine up to a software, so it has everything. And
it's just a little bit user friendly.
I guess I can get an
external MIDI editor.
Yeah, an editor, but I'm a little hesitant because some of them are buggy.
Mm-hmm.
And
That is true.
if you're using your synth while this thing is open and you do a specific key sequence, it'll ruin some patches or something, like the one voice in the patches or something.
Yeah.
So I'm hesitant to use it because I'm afraid I'm gonna ruin the patches and I'm gonna lose my patches and stuff. So
You better watch out for that. Some of them do send erroneous messages.
yeah,
And if you write on your patch,
Yeah.
there goes that.
yeah. So I know you guys. I'm sure if you guys were together, you'd probably want to play out more often.
Yeah, absolutely. Playing live is awesome.
Yeah.
It's really good to like spend all that time in the studio or wherever your studio is, and you spend all that effort and energy of meticulous detail and trying to come up with lyrics and you know, potentially arguing and fighting and then making up, and because that's what you do in a band, and then you know, it's really good to be able to play that stuff live and just to see people enjoying it and having a good time. You know, it doesn't have to be tons of people. It just needs to be, you know, people are there and they enjoy it, and it's pretty awesome.
So I was gonna ask you, do you prefer the studio or do you enjoy playing it live as well? Which you already kind of answered. So
Both.
yeah.
Both.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I always pursue the subconsciously. I always pursued live shows and
Yeah.
fell for some reason.
Yeah.
Primarily probably because I also grew up in metal and punk scenes and played metal and punk.
Yeah.
For however long.
Yeah.
However, the studio work is very important.
Yeah.
And right now, it's definitely trying to focus more on the studio time and see where we can do our best to present it live and how we can do our best to present it live.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dave? Do you like the studio? Do you like live?
I've learned a lot in the studio in the last year, 2 years. So that was very good for me.
Yeah.
And getting to the point where it's like, oh, I want this to sound like that, and making it happen is always a big step versus like just knowing one piece of gear, but actually knowing how to put it all together, or learning how to put it all together.
Yeah.
So that was good. I hope we can do live stuff, and I hope we'll have material for that again too, because that is usually the most fun part.
Yeah, playing a new song, going, hope they like it. Hope
Yeah,
we don't screw it up. Let's do the thing.
For me, it's the writing is important, but the payoff is the live show.
Yeah.
So
Totally. Absolutely.
I like in previous band, like before Twitch, I was in another band in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and the one thing I always wanted to fucking do was play live, and I couldn't. Yeah, they never wanted to do that. It just didn't work out, and that's one of the reasons why I came to Calgary, is because I was like, I need to get out of this, because
absolutely.
I want to do other things, and I'm obviously not getting what I want there. So
Yeah.
anyway, so what are you guys' plans for the future? You don't have to specifically talk about Tekhnotron either. I mean, I know you two, you and Rissy were working on some kind of future pop thing or something.
We'll see if it finds its way into Tekhnotron material.
Yeah.
But right now it's been like, that's been a really interesting kind of like just randomly jamming on some stuff.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's, and then
It's
we'll
too
have to-
major of a key. Tekhnotron can't.
Yeah. So it might find its way there, but there's a couple of songs that I just really enjoyed putting together, and it's unapologetically cheesy. It's not even trying to like be anything else. It's just usual like cheesy future pop, because nobody does that anymore.
And I think we've already discussed Tekhnotron, but I'm sure you can mention it again. So future plans for
What are your
Tekhnotron.
future plans, Tom?
Some studio work definitely. Like I said, focusing on getting the single out, hopefully before the end of 2018, and after that, sculpting the finalized material for a potential EP.
You have other plans too.
I always have plans. Musically, well, I mean, an unapologetic future pop album just sounds fun. So maybe that will happen.
Not in the style of V&V though.
Yeah. No more C major.
Yeah.
No.
Is V&V in C major? Is that stuff C major or?
Some of it is.
Oh, really?
A good chunk of it's
Oh,
just
really?
good old fashioned C major.
That's so weird.
Natural
Like,
scale,
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
But yeah, I mean, I do, like David and myself and a friend of mine back in Vancouver, we have an idea to make a really, it's super nerdy, but a really more creepy, atmospheric, kind of a concept album based on ancient Egyptian.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what I'm studying in university, and not like the cheesy pop culture reference stuff, like taking some of the scripts and the writing that we have and just trying to see if we can make some more of a darker, creepy idea. I don't know. It's an idea. It's a concept.
You did some jamming.
We have some jamming. Some of the songs like that sounds pretty cool. Maybe this would be a thing.
Sci-fi to
it's totally it's totally out in the left field. But hey, you know that's how things get formed. But yeah, my other project I'm in as well. We're currently working on recording our album. So
is that the Weirding Way? Or? Yeah. Okay.
But 7 people take a long time to record.
Yeah. Well.
So it takes time.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about it a bit more?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So with that project, it was a bit of a. It's completely different than Tekhnotron.
Yeah.
It's not electronic at all. There's no computers and no synths.
Yeah.
But I found an ad from the main guy on Craigslist. He's like, I need a soprano singer. I'm like, can sing soprano? What do you want? And and so we became like super good friends ever since. And it's more of like a shamanic or fusion folk rock.
Yeah.
Metal, Tool, 9 Inch Nail, 90s, Tea Party,
Tea
Bazooki,
Party,
So we say rock, but it's definitely metal elements in there for sure.
Okay.
It's some songs are pretty heavy, and so for that I'm one of there's 3 singers in that song. The one of the female singers for that. And and so we are recorded about 4 or 5 songs, and one is currently, and so they're getting ready to get mastered and all that jazz. So hopefully within this year we'll have an EP out as well. But that's definitely between these 2, our project and that other one. In school keeps me busy.
Yeah, no shit.
No.
That's gonna be.
It's awesome. It's intense. It's fun. But it'll be worth it in the end.
Yeah. So what's exciting to you guys right now in the goth industrial scene? Any music that's perking your interest, or even upcoming live shows or Terminus that we just had here?
Terminus definitely stood out this year. It might be a pretty brave thing to say at this moment, but personally I feel it was the strongest one yet. It felt a sort of a best of, almost felt like a best of with some new artists and some new interesting sounds intertwined this year, which presented all of the strongest sides of the Terminus in my opinion, which was quite excellent. And in terms of other local shows, we'll definitely be looking forward to Ogre show. That's
Ogre,
yes. In August
21st,
22nd, Clan of Zymox in November. In terms of local artists, lots of friends. I always support the friends in the scene in the music making community. We'll be seeing my friend Corinthian making dark techno in a few days here.
Alright.
Other than that, I'm always trying to stay up with to see what's up and what's going on in the community.
And I'm not saying specifically in this scene either. I know you guys live in Vancouver, so anything exciting you in
what's new in the Vancouver goth scene? I don't know, I'm always busy. No. Well, somewhat like the band Wirespine. I really enjoy them quite a bit. Rob's awesome. They're both awesome. And they've played at Terminus. I think it was last year or the year before.
Yeah, I was there.
I think it was last year. And they've done a bunch of other shows in Vancouver and down the coast since then. And they're always, I really enjoy listening to them. They're very well put together. We saw, actors, of course, they were at Terminus. I've seen them a bunch of times. Local Vancouver show, they're great. They are always well put together. We really enjoy watching them. We saw, what was the band called? I think it was Brutes, they're another local band. Brutes. Yeah. And they're a local band in Vancouver, and David saw them the first time, and then I saw them the second time, and it was how would you describe them? Like they're pretty, not synth poppy, but they're not like.
You're also a little dark on that. I don't know. It's always hard.
It's always
starting
hard to
get
describe
hard to put
yourself.
things into
Yeah,
words,
everything
right?
kind of like
But
mixed
it
together.
was good. I liked it.
Yeah, they were really good. But yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I mean, I listen to a lot of metal as well, so there are definitely some shows coming up in Vancouver that I'm super excited for. But
Well, I think Wardruna is going to be interesting.
Cannot wait for
Oh.
it.
Interestingly enough, it's
and
one of those
Wardruna
music
is-
styles that is very genre spanning.
I think if I'm not mistaken, that's the band my friend Aaron's really into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like this folky.
Yeah,
weird-
they're,
It's a
he's,
dark
he's from
ambient.
he's
Yeah,
a dark
yeah.
ambient project. I mean, he has
Yeah.
a lot of. He's from Norway, and they have a lot.
Yeah.
He has a lot of like traditional Nordic instruments,
Yeah.
acoustic. But there is a good chunk of his music, at least to my ears,
Yeah.
that seems to be very dark ambient and electronic driven, which is a very interesting combination.
Yeah.
And I mean, like another one which is in that similar genre, but it is all, well, not all, but so far from what I know from it, very electronic based, is Danheim. Yeah, and he's just like one guy from
Electronic music
an
producer
electronic,
from Denmark.
yeah,
Oh,
from
okay.
Denmark, and he produces music very similar nature to Wardruna, and it's like I'm sure he has some acoustic in there as well, but a lot of it is one guy with his laptop, and the sounds that he can create from for that style of music is very top notch. So it's quite But I mean, I like scoured my phone like, what's new that I'm listening to? Like Panic Priest. They're really good. They're a new band.
I played the Terminus 4 years ago.
Panic Priest?
Panic Priest?
Did they
Really?
play Terminus? Did he? No, Panic Priest didn't play Terminus.
No, I don't think so.
No, he's like brand new.
Oh no, you're right.
You're thinking of someone else, yeah.
He was trying to
I wish he should play the next Terminus.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and Bora Aurora from LA, they released an album, and it is like,
Oh, really?
get them for Terminus. Oh my
Idol.
goodness.
Yeah.
It's-
Idol.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Idol.
You know, like the newer Agent Sidegrinder that came out, the Doppelganger single
Yeah, okay.
with their new singer is like, Missing Witness. They haven't released anything super.
They did
new.
release it.
Oh yeah, they released
EBM track.
yes, yeah, an awesome EBM trap, but
This is
Missing
a band
Witness
from
album.
Oh, really?
I've seen that Verboten. Shout out to Verboten for next April.
Oh, okay.
It happened again.
Yeah, but yeah, Missing Witness from Seattle are really awesome. I really enjoyed that album.
So, we're coming to the end here, so any last words from you guys? Anything you want to say? Anything you want to talk about? Is there something that we didn't cover that you guys want to talk about?
Thank you. In fact,
Yeah,
of course,
you're welcome, man.
showcase here.
Yeah, you know worries, man.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Let's check
Thank
out
you, yeah.
Little Beast.
You want to check it out?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll turn it on.
Let's play some music.
I'll have to turn it up a little bit, and I'm not going to move the camera, so...
My eardrums.
Still works from Terminus. It's okay.
Yeah, eardrum's still broken from Terminus. It's-
Let body
welcome. No, that's fine. So, what are your various sites and social media channels?
We're active on Facebook.
Okay.
At Tekhnotron. I will link you up.
Cool.
So we can put the link in the description.
Yep.
As well as we have a Twitter and
Yep.
Bandcamp. On Bandcamp you can get a lot of our back catalog free of charge, as you wish.
Yep.
And those are the main channels that we use to stay in touch with the community.
All right.
Awesome.
I will ask this again. Any last words? Anything you guys want to say? Anything?
No, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Okay.
wonderful.
Well, that was our 4th episode of Industrial Beers. Technotron. Brap on, fuckers. Cheers.
Woo! Post terminus.
Yeah, right.